Since the deadline, you guys played pretty good for a couple of months. What have you liked on what you've seen, and what do you want to see is in the last 6 weeks or so?
Well, I think it goes back to what I said probably early on in spring training. Coming into the season, you want to see players make progress. You want to see the team make progress. And look, we started off as bad as you can start, and then there were some periods there where we played some pretty good baseball, and then now we're scuffling a little bit as of late. So, I think that's part of the whole, growing pains that young players have, young teams have, is there's some ups and you have some downs, but we got to find ways to get better. That's just the bottom line.
The times of the games have been changed to 6:40 p.m.
It's because you're old right there.
Yeah, you're right.
Get you home.
My son could not make it through. Can you talk about that decision and how you came to that decision and kind of what the message is?
Yeah, I think it's consistent with what we've done since last season. We listened to our fan base, and we wanted to make sure that we accommodate some of those fans that said they'd like to come straight from work to the ballpark, and some that said they'd like to get home a little bit earlier. And there's been a few teams in Major League Baseball around the league that have done the same thing. So we're going to test it out and see how it is, but it all comes from feedback that we receive.
Do you think that that's a way to generate more attendance, more people, and would you say that maybe you're a little disappointed with the way that the turnout has been this year, and that's a result of that?
Well, you hope it helps increase attendance. Look, we've invested in affordability, from our ownership group, and we want this to be an option for people of South Florida. We want this to be an affordable entertainment option. But then also, when you talk about attendance, look, we have never shied away from it. That's something we need to increase the attendance numbers here. There's been some games, especially last weekend, where we had close to 30,000 people in here. And you just see the energy level in it. I'm just talking from a player standpoint. When you have that many people in here, it makes it a whole lot easier to play. And I think our players are very vocal about that. But look, we're still trying to develop trust. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But we've seen a steady increase in our attendance numbers from the beginning of the year, especially from June to July. I think our attendance numbers increased by 15%. So we still got a long way to go. We got a lot of work to do, but I'd like to think we're headed in the right direction.
Kirk, what do you see organizationally from the talent you kind of brought in through the trades, through the draft? Those guys now have been a few weeks or more in your system. What do you kind of notice?
Well, I think especially when you go to the trade deadline, we were dealing in our minds from an organizational strength. We felt as though pitching is one of the strengths that we have in the organization at the time, and we want to continue to acquire top-notch position players, which we were able to do. We talk about Lewin and Jesus and Jazz. Those are three players that have an opportunity to be special. But it goes to show all the hard work that our player development, our scouting, I think we've gotten better at our acquisitions. But at the same time, when you go through a trade deadline, it's the same thing as a player. You have to say goodbye to some players and some guys that it's a real testament to our player development, the way we've been able to help some of these guys develop at a rapid pace. And you have to say bye to some players and wish them well, because they all did a great job for us for the Marlins organization. But we're happy with the trades we made, the players that we acquired. Having said that, now we have to continue to make sure that they develop.
It just seems like it might be this constant battle of talents, where you don't want to be overly pitching or overly hitting. You kind of obviously like to have both together.
You want to have it all. That's how you win. Look, from day one, we said we had a plan. We're going to stick to that plan, and we're going to continue to do it. And I think it's as an organization, when you have some of these media outlets starting to validate some of the progress that we made, it makes you feel good. But yet again, we don't want to just have the best minor league system in baseball. We want to have the best organization, and we have a long way to go.
You guys obviously one of the big guys you traded for, Jazz Chisholm, shortstop. As a former shortstop, of course, what kind of stands out to you about him from his game?
You know what? I haven't seen Jazz play much. I went to the Arizona Fall League last year to look at some of our players, and it took about 3 innings when I said, "Who is that?" Because he's someone that stood out on the field, and obviously he has all the tools to be successful, but you have to make sure you continue to develop him. go to see him here in the next week or so, get a chance to obviously introduce myself and speak to him a little bit. But you know, he's very, very high upside.
Do you feel power is becoming an even more important factor? You look around, the records are being broken. We just saw the Mets hit all these Yankees and Dodgers. And almost you need it to win now, more so than ever. I know it's always been important when you play too, but it seems like it's taking a bigger role.
Power?
Would you agree? Homers?
There's a lot more home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's no secret. The reason why, you know, especially in this past year, you talk about the draft, you talk about our trades, even in the international market, we've been able to acquire some players that we feel as though are going to have a lot of power. And yeah, you want to make sure that someone asked the question early on. You don't want to have an organization that's filled with full of just pitching prospects. You want to have position players as well. And along with those position players, you'd like to have some guys that have power or the potential for power. And we have a few of those guys now.
At the beginning of the season, when we talked to you about on the pro side, about wins and losses, and you said that, yeah, sure, wins and losses can be an indicator in terms of how a team performs. Does that kind of stay the course here at this point?
Yeah, no question. Ultimately, I think everyone gets judged on wins and losses here. I mean, you don't win any rings for having a great minor league system, but in order to have more wins here than losses, you need to have that, you know, the influx in talent at the minor league level. And I told you from day one, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build it from the ground up, and we're going to start with the minor league system. And we've made progress there, but ultimately, you don't win championships for having a great minor league system.
Also, this will be Donnie's last month and a half under contract with the team.